Following a high-stakes battle on the impending delimitation exercise, an all-party meeting convened by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has proposed freezing the population-based allocation of Lok Sabha seats for another 30 years, beyond 2026. But the key question remains, is the Tamil Nadu formula a practical solution? Vanakkam. This is D. Suresh Kumar. Thank you for joining me in this episode of the Hindu Focus Tamil Nadu. We are diving into this topic of delimitation once again because it has the potential to impact every citizen and reshape political representation as well as regional balance of power. The all party meeting convened by the Chief Minister brought together a diverse group of political parties, resulting in a rare show of unity in support of the ruling DMK's position on the delimitation. As many as 59 political parties participated in the meeting and unanimously supported the government. The BJP, Tamil Manila Congress, Nam Tamil Katchi, and a few other political parties boycotted the meeting. The meeting highlighted concerns that the population based delimitation threatens the political representation rights of Tamil Nadu and South India. A resolution adopted at the meeting urged the union government to extend the 1971 census based constituency allocation for another 30 years beyond 2026. Alternatively, it said if the number of MPs in the Lok Sabha is going to be increased, then the current representation ratio of states in South India must be retained as such. This means that Tamil Nadu's 7.18% share in the Lok Sabha should not be disturbed at any cost. Stalin has said that Tamil Nadu is not against delimitation, but it will not allow it to be disguised as a weapon to target the progressive, well-performing South Indian states. Now let us examine if Tamil Nadu's proposed formula is a practical solution. While the state's intention to preserve the political representation rights for South India and maintain the federal balance is indeed commendable and valid, the resolution seeking a freeze on delimitation until 2056 is certainly not a feasible solution, given the evolving demographic imbalance that we are seeing around us. Already, delimitation has been frozen based on the 1971 census for the past 50 years. It was first postponed until 2000 by way of the 42nd Constitutional Amendment, and thereafter in 2000 by way of the 84th Constitutional Amendment it was deferred until the first census after 2026. As a result, two generations have inherited a system of electoral malapportionment. To put this in perspective, India, despite being the world's most populous country, has only 543 seats in its lower house for an estimated 1.4 billion people. In contrast, the UK has 650 seats in the lower house for an estimated 67.3 million people. Therefore, a deferring delimitation by another 30 years will only mean that we are shifting the problem without addressing the underlying issue. This issue needs to be approached in a dispassionate and apolitical manner. Over the past 25 years, many political and social scientists, while acknowledging the legitimate concerns of South India, which has performed very well in terms of population control, have argued against maintaining of status quo in terms of delimitation. In fact, well-known demographic expert Professor Hridayarajan has questioned why should we pass on this issue to the next generation. He has rightly pointed out that the challenges surrounding the issue of delimitation will persist even 30 years from now, and therefore it does not merit postponement. Two recent studies shed light on the significant geographical disparity in political representation. A study by economists Raja Setudurai and Srinivasan, who incidentally is a member of the Tamil Nadu State Planning Commission, highlights that the average population per Lok Sabha constituency in Rajasthan is 3.24 million, whereas it is just 1.97 million in Tamil Nadu. In fact, if you look at the last delimitation, the full delimitation that was done based on the 1971 census, the average population per Lok Sabha constituency almost across India was only 1.04 million. Therefore, continuing the status quo in terms of delimitation would run contrary to the idea of India being a representative democracy. A study on India's demographic struggle for political representation by social scientist Pankaj Kumar Patel and T.V. Shekhar highlights how this distortion undermines the principle of one person, one vote, one value, and how it disproportionately benefits the wealthier states. For instance, this study, quoting another research paper, says that if the status quo on delimitation is maintained, then the number of reserved constituencies in Lok Sabha will remain the same, although the population of the scheduled castes and scheduled tribes has grown significantly. In addition, the northern states will have access to fewer resources. For instance, a MP in South India will be able to use the MP Lads funds to address the needs of a smaller constituency benefiting fewer people. But on the other hand, an MP from, say, a state like Rajasthan or Bihar will have access to the same funds, but he'll be constrained to use it to address the needs of a larger constituency and a greater number of people. So, what is the way forward? There is broad consensus among experts that the number of seats in the Lok Sabha needs to be increased to address this issue. But the real question is, how do we go about this? Is Tamil Nadu's recommendation for retaining the existing percentage of seats in the Lok Sabha for all states a valid solution? To address this issue, Patel and Shekhar have come up with an alternative approach, that is, to redefine the constituency boundaries based on the total eligible voting population instead of using the total population as a base. So, using the Webster method, they have calculated that if the eligible voting population is taken as of 2026, then the total number of seats in the Lok Sabha could be revised from 543 to 738. This would still be 55 seats fewer than the calculation that is based on the total population method. This approach would help restore some balance between states and also reduce the growing disparity between the south and north. Economists Setu Durai and Srinivasan also support this approach, saying that this would help to decrease the malapportionment index value. Another option suggested in both the studies is to use a model similar to the one that was adopted by the 15th Finance Commission, factoring in demographic as well as socio-economic parameters. The Finance Commission had revised the population weightage from 17.5% based on the 1971 census to 15% based on the 2011 census. Additionally, a new demographic performance criterion was introduced, accounting for 12.5% weightage with focus on population control. Professor Shaktivel of the Annamalai University has also supported a similar approach, advocating for inclusion of the socio-economic criteria alongside population to incentivize states with a lower fertility rate. Professor Hridaya Rajan actually comes up with a third approach. He suggests that states that have effectively controlled population must be incentivized by increasing the value of the vote of the MPs from those states in the Lok Sabha. This, he says, should be based on statistical composite indexes such as the Human Development Index. While developing such a methodology and getting everybody on board is no doubt a very challenging task, it is on any day better than maintaining the status quo on delimitation. Deferring delimitation will, after all, be only a temporary fix, creating an artificial sense of political stability while distorting the core principles of democracy. Therefore, it is high time that the centre steps in on this issue and perhaps create an interstate team to discuss this issue thoroughly and come up with a methodology that is acceptable to all states and implement delimitation, perhaps not immediately, but at least a few years from now, instead of deferring it for 30 years as suggested by Tamil Nadu. Let's see how things unfold. On that note, this is D. Suresh Kumar signing off. I shall meet you in another video. Thank you.